Hey there tuners and tunies, and today I'm going to be addressing a common complaint that most people have about my content. The fact I play far too many Nintendo games. I know, it's cringy and weird, which is why I'm going to be switching it up a little bit. Instead of playing another Mario, Zelda or Splatoon, we're instead going to be playing a high-end PC game. And you know, I'm so excited to show it to you that I'm going to show it to you right now. So sit back and relax and get ready to see the best graphics you've seen all year. Let's go. That's the power of PCs for you. If you grew up in the 2000s and had a Windows PC, you've likely experienced the Windows Game Collection, a series of pack-in mini-games bundled with every copy of Windows Vista and Windows 7. These were just simple little side things, nothing much really, and while many of the games are just repackages of older ones, like Minesweeper, they all had some added graphical sheen to really show off what PCs in the early 2000s were capable of. However, there was one noticeable new addition, not a simple reimagining of a classic card game, neither an old game ported over. No, this game was entirely new, and this one had a name. Purble Place. Purble Place is perhaps the weirdest thing to come out of Windows Vista, a collection of free individual edutainment games that each tackled a rather basic and necessary lesson: memory, time management, and problem solving. While being rather limited, having only 3 mini-games to pick from that each lasted around 1 to 5 minutes each, I adored this game as a kid, playing it whenever my mum decided to boot up her old Windows Vista machine. It hooked me for some weird reason, whether that be due to our lack of internet and thus any other PC games at the time, or just thanks to me adoring the gameplay, which I won't doubt. I ate up anything that had a title screen and 8 gallons of colour at that age. Like, what do you expect? Looking back on it, I know for a fact this game was awful in essentially every facet of the word, but at the same time, I am awfully curious about it. I mean, this was my favourite game when I was younger. Surely it has some redeeming qualities. And I know what you're all thinking, Sparky, this is all gonna go horribly wrong, and you're instantly gonna hate your former self for liking this. But I have doubts. I mean, how bad can a game be? Okay, I now hate my former self. My god, who invited bootleg Dr. Seuss to the party? And more importantly, who even approved his creations for the world to see? This is the kind of thing you get when you Google Chinese knockoff games and click on the first result. And that title? What a winner! I mean, of course, it's obvious. A game about 3 smaller games inside it should obviously be called Purble Place. You know, it's genius, because people remember it as Purple Place and not Purble Place, and then people won't even be able to find it ever again, and my god, seriously, purple isn't even a fucking word! And that font! What in the world is this? You've got this world right here, Assault to the Eye Central, and instead of sticking to the theme of over-the-top mayhem, you go with this. Did a mum make this? Like, this is the one situation where Comic Sans would have actually been appropriate, and you went with the default font you get in Microsoft Word. Why? Alright, yeah, the game. We have 3 options presented before us. Bell Tower? Okay. Weird cake factory thing? Alright. And... okay, let's keep as far away from that abomination as possible. First game. Purble Pairs. A basic matching game set in a school that... What in the world is that? Seriously, what character designer came up with this and thought it was okay? Thought it was ready to brave this cruel world? Thought it would be at the least bit appropriate for a child of age 3? This is the kind of thing you get when you ask a kid to draw an alien, not what a professional character designer hands into their boss after a 6-week work cycle. Anyway, the game, it's just a mediocre matching tiles game, but with hell demons and cakes as the cards. I mean, it plays well, and the few unique mechanics like the chef card that collects in all the cakes, and the mixer that swaps the board around work well enough to spice up the tedium. I mean, as long as it keeps this hellspawn away from me as long as possible, I'm fine with whatever the game throws at me. Also, side note, no music. Like at all. Just sound effects and the occasional 5-second jingle. Creepy. Right, game 2, Comfy Cakes, which... Oh god, another one! This one is a little better than the last, not by much though. Here you have to make cakes using this strange conveyor belt system, which, while looking interesting at first, is in fact... brace yourselves... bad. Who'd have thought it? It's a simple time management game at its core, with you needing to make cakes as fast as possible to not cause any pile-ups and thus lose the game. However, the slight issue is, it just isn't fun, which is surprising considering I remember this as being my favourite game from the collection when I was younger. How times change. Harder difficulties add in more options and more time management. But it gets to such a difficult point that I, a 15-year-old gamer who beat Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze and some of Super Meat Boy, can't actually beat it? Like seriously though, do you blame me? Look at how long it takes to make a single cake on hard. This is the most tedious and simultaneously frustrating thing I've ever experienced. And I played this. Right, I've had enough of this now. Final game, Purble Shop. Great name, by the way. Whoever came up with that needs a raise. This is the store with that demon from earlier in the window, so I have little hope of this being anything above bad. And hey, I was dead right. This is one of those awful design your own creature type things, but with the entire appeal of that taken away and replaced with a deduction-styled game. Essentially, this thing wants a very specific look. If you can work out what that is and recreate it, then you win. It's probably the most developed idea out of this entire collection, with actual problem solving being needed for harder difficulties, but considering the level of quality on display in the rest of this game, that really isn't saying much. Also again, no music. Would it have really hurt them to add in some stock elevator music or something? It wouldn't even need to be that good. It would at least mean that I could escape the eternal thoughts brewing around in my mind. And that was Purble Place. And I never want to talk about it ever again. And I don't think I really need to explain why. I do not understand in the slightest why I enjoyed this game as a kid, and I especially do not have a clue why I held it in such high regard for the longest time. It looks awful and ugly, is mind-numbingly dull in almost every way imaginable, and any sense of nostalgia I had for the game was completely obliterated the second I booted it up. Don't play this game. Don't even try it. It's one of the worst I've ever played. I think I'd rather watch the Emoji Movie twice than ever play it again. Vista was a mistake, but not for the reason everybody thinks. Well, that was awful, but it did get me thinking. You know, my channel's becoming a little stale at the minute, and I think it's time for a rebrand. I know I only did this a few months ago, but I think this is for the better. So, without further ado, let me present to you the rebrand for Sparky. I'm gonna make millions off of this.